South Africans sharing their thoughts on various issues trending on Twitter. SABC digital news producer Paballo Lephaka tells us more.
Leading this week's trending topics are the tensions mounting in Zimbabwe, as its long-term leader Robert Mugabe's future hangs in the balance amid coup confusion. The 93-year-old ruler, who has held on to power for 37 years, is refusing to quit, insisting he remains Zimbabwe's only legitimate leader. The hashtags Zimbabwe, hashtag Grace Mugabe, and hashtag Robert Mugabe have been making their rounds on social media throughout the week, as pressure mounts on Mugabe to accept offers of a graceful exit. The Twitter community has expressed its diverse range of mixed views on the situation. @Mackenzie_FS says, "If it looks like a coup and tastes like a coup, then it is a coup. Hashtag Zimbabwe." Clever L. Rakhoze says, "I commend the hashtag ZDF for controlling the situation peacefully. Hopefully this ends soon and sets hashtag Zimbabwe for a more peaceful, united and prosperous country." Some users have criticized the role of the Southern African development community. @Sibo-Barrow says, "I've come to the conclusion that it is not in the best interest of the SADC region for our nation to succeed, for they are enjoying cheap labor from our people. And once we get back on our feet, there is going to be a scramble for inverters, of which we got the upper hand. Hashtag Zimbabwe." Others feel that forcing the long-term leader to step down is an almost impossible task. Joe Barada 123 says, "But getting Mugabe to give up on power in terms of a constitution he has ignored for years is like finding a crocodile in muddy waters. Hashtag Zimbabwe." Another story that trended on social media this week was the long-awaited Fees Commission report released on Monday. The Commission recommended that government increases its expenditure on higher education and training to at least 1% of GDP. The hashtags Fees Commission and Fees Must Fall were making waves on social media, with Twitter users largely rejecting the report and harshly criticizing its recommendations. @Sam_52614 says, "Honestly, the solution to Fees Must Fall that was given in the Fees Commission report was utter rubbish, because how can you offer me free education by putting me in debt with banks and having to pay more with interest?" @Advocate Barry Roo says, "When the EFF said we must nationalize the banks, y'all said they are mad. Jacob Zuma is using the same banks to put black poor students into debt with unscrupulous banks. Who's mad now? Hashtag Fees Commission, hashtag Fees Must Fall." @Katlawe MK says, "They recommend banks to give student loans. In other words, they're offering ropes to hang ourselves. Slavery in another name. A never-ending maze chasing the illusion of freedom. This cycle of poverty must end with us. Hashtag Fees Commission." In the other big news on social media this week, hashtag RWC 2023 trended for a significant period on Wednesday after South Africa lost its bid to host the 2023 Rugby World Cup to France. Users on Twitter had a mixed range of views on the news, with some criticizing the bidding process. @Squidgy G says, "Somehow, in the interest of transparency, it feels like at World Rugby it needs to explain why and how their council, especially part-timers and politicians, overruled its own professional technical experts' recommendation. Hashtag RWC 2023. Other users say they are happy that France will host it, as this was going to require South Africa to dig deep into its pockets. @Floyd Chivambu says, "France will host the Rugby World Cup in 2023. It's better that way because these events come with lots of promises that don't get fulfilled and the benefits of hosting don't trickle down to the people on the ground." @Carter Floyd says, "I'm so happy that 2023 World Cup will be hosted by the stable France. These events are overrated, they cost an arm and a leg with weak returns." Another user questions South Africa's priorities. @Bonga08 says, "Someone balance me here. So, we were in a bid to host a Rugby World Cup, which will require billions of infrastructure, but we can't pop out money for free education." And that concludes your social media trends for this week. Follow us on Twitter @SABC News Online for more updates.